Story tell about how my best friend was a snake. So a little background information, I'm 16 and in 9th grade. And I've been best friends with this girl who we're gonna call Callie since 5th grade. Well, fast forward to 8th grade, there was this guy in my class that I really liked. And obviously I told Callie about it because duh, she is my best friend. And she has never talked to this boy. She never even knew who he was before I had told her about him. And by the way, we're gonna call him Jake. Well, eventually him and I started talking and she was hyping us up like she really wanted us to be together so bad. And I was really feeling the love and support. Well, not long after that, I had to move to another town for 3 months because of my dad. So Jake and we stopped talking after me being gone for 2 weeks. And of course, not long after that, one of my friends from home texted me and she's like, hey, you know Callie and that guy that you were talking to, right? AKA Jake. Obviously, I say yes. So like I said, I had to move away for 3 months because of my dad, and Jake and I stopped talking about 2 weeks after I had left. Even I get a text from my friend saying, hey, you know, telling you my friend that you were talking to Jake. Obviously, I say yes. And then she goes, oh, well, they're talking about getting together. And I was livid. I'm like, dude, I've literally been gone for less than a month and you're already trying to get with the guy that I liked. What the actual you know what? So I bawled my eyes out for 2 hours straight. And then it was that I'm going to confront her. And she literally says to me, she has the audacity to say that she's been in love with him for so long, even before I had told her about him. Which is a lie, because as I told you guys earlier, she didn't know this man. Well, anyways, Jake ended up friend-zoning her and she didn't even really apologize to me. She said sorry, but she didn't acknowledge the importance of the situation and how it made me feel. She just thought that saying sorry would make it all better. Story time about how one of my best friends started blackmailing me. So a little background information, I was 16 years old and a junior in high school. There are parents and friends with this other married couple who has a son that is around my age. He's 17, about to be 18, and what do they call him, Derek? Well, him and I somehow ended up getting into the same friend group, and he got my number, and him and I started texting a lot. So fast forward, my birthday comes around, and I end up having a party. And some of my cousins were around my age as well, so they were there, and my whole friend group was there, including Derek, of course. Well, surprise, surprise, there were booze and marijuana there, so I ended up getting kinda messed up. And then, as you could guess, Derek and I did the nasty. And surprise again, he had took some pictures and videos of me drinking and stuff. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he sent me a message that literally said for me to send him nude pictures and do stuff for him physically, or else he was gonna send these pictures to my parents. So like I said, he took some pictures and videos of me doing some stuff for my party, and then all of a sudden, I get a message out of nowhere saying that I need to send him nude photos and do stuff for him physically, or else he was gonna send these pictures to my parents, and the whole school literally blackmailed me. Now, of course, I didn't want my parents to find any of this crap out, so it became a regular thing between him and I, where I would send him pictures and then do stuff for him, and this went on for a while. Fast forward, thankfully, I'm about to graduate, and he doesn't blackmail me anymore since both of us don't want a serious relationship. I don't really know how that makes sense, but yeah. Story time about how I unintentionally almost drowned my sister. So a little background information, I was 8 years old and my sister was 5. And during the summer, my sister and I never really got to go swimming because pool memberships were really expensive and my family did not want to take us to a public pool. So every summer we would go to my grandpa's house so that way we could go swimming, but he lived 2 hours away, so we would only go there once a summer. And since we only got to go swimming this one time, we would usually be in the pool 24/7. So fast forward, we're all at my grandpa's house. And I finished my dinner first, so I went outside and I put my sister's floaties on because I'm pretty sure that mine actually popped. Quick thing, we were allowed to go into the pool without floaties on if we stayed in the shallow end of the pool because we couldn't swim for shit. Anyway, so I put her floaties on and I darted the deep end and she comes outside a bat out of hell and she starts screaming and crying. And being the big sister I am, I'm just swimming around, ignoring her, enjoying my time in the pool. Like I said, I have her floaties on, I'm in the deep end of the pool, she's screaming at me, telling me to take them off, I'm ignoring her. And then what does her crazy ass decide to do? She decides to get into the pool and try and get them from me. Now my sister was super tiny, and even being in the shallow end of the pool, she really couldn't stick her head above the water. I'm pretty sure that all swimming pools are like this, but there's a slope that goes into the deep end and it's super slippery. So she comes over to try and get the floaties from me and then she slips. It was literally like a cartoon where the cartoon characters are moving their feet backwards really fast. And I thought that she was just jolting around, so I'm just sitting there staring at her. And so she actually starts choking, and then my dad hurries up and runs outside, thank God. I feel like dads just have superpowers to know whenever their kids are in trouble. Anyway, so he jumps in with the pool and he saves her. He ends up spraining his ankle, and I wasn't allowed in the pool for the rest of the weekend. Now, of course, this had me pretty pissed off, but now that I'm an adult, I can see why. Storytime about how my boyfriend was zigging me and some other girl at the same time. So a little background information, I was 16 years old and a junior in high school, and wanted to call my boyfriend Tyler. So Tyler and I met back in middle school, but we were like barely even friends. Well, fast forward to my junior year in high school, he reached out to me and eventually him and I were talking every single day. Fast forward 3 months, him and I were definitely more than a friendship because we would do everything that couples would do just without the label. Well, the one day him and I are hanging out and we're taking pictures on his Snapchat and sending them to his friends. And then I feed that his number one best friend is this girl named Bailey. Now, the reason why I wasn't on his best friends list was because I didn't have Snapchat. But the only reason why this is a problem is because him and his friends Snapchat each other all day. And I'm talking like spam the fuck out of each other. So for her to be at the top of his best friend list, they have to be Snapchatting a lot. So I have asked her if it was this one girl that we both knew. Like I said, he's clearly been Snapchatting this girl a lot. So then I asked him if it's this Bailey girl that we actually knew, and he was like, no, this is Bailey Moore. That other Bailey is disgusting. Like, as a, what the fuck is so special about this one? Just kidding, not really. Shigam Suplan and I cannot get this girl out of my head because he didn't even try to explain who she was or why she had any significance in his life at all. So fast forward to spring break. He told me that whenever we got back from vacation, he wanted me to meet his parents, but I was so happy about because our relationship is finally progressing. And then I remember that he's supposed to give me his hen Tom's prom with some other girl, of course. So I decided to look up this Bailey girl just to see where she's from, and what do you know, she's from his hometown. So fast forward, I ended up getting in trouble for going out and didn't drag it, and my parents stood by blown away, and then they went through it. And they found out that Tyler and I were doing the nasty, so they guarded me. And they were like, using tell Tyler that he can text or call us if he wants to talk to you. I didn't get any texts the whole entire time that I was grounded. So fast forward a whole week, I finally text him like for part 3. Storytime about how this girl pretended to be my best friend just to go on vacation with me. So a little background information, I was 14 and a freshman in high school, and we're to call this girl Sophia. So Sophia and I met whenever we were in 6th grade, and we were inseparable. And shortly after her and I had became best friends, my mom thought that it would be nice for us to go on vacation to Hawaii in 2 years. She also said that my brother and I would be able to bring one friend each. So I asked Sophia if she wanted to come to Hawaii in 2 years, and of course she said yes. Kick of mine, I was popular, Sophia was kinda lame, and I'm not even saying that just to be mean, but it's true. So over the next 2 years, her and I are hanging out every day, sneaking out together because we also live like 2 minutes away from each other. And my brother decided that he was gonna bring his friend Noah. And I had a crush on Noah, and Sophia knew this, but she would always flirt with him in front of me. I really should have saw this as a red flag, but you know, we love to ignore those. And then out of nowhere, Sophia starts dressing like me and starts getting more popular in school. So like they said, she had been flirting with this guy that she knew that I liked. And then she starts dressing like me and getting more popular, which I hadn't really cared because I was still her best friend. Maybe they said she didn't really have any other friends, so fast forward, vacation comes around and we all go to Hawaii. We had the best time ever. No, it's a world, and I barely hear from her, but I was putting in all the effort, texting her every day, and her responses were dry as fuck. And then she had this boyfriend named Brandon, which I guess that could have been the reason why she wasn't targeting me as much. Because you know, you get into a relationship and all of your focus goes towards that, especially at this age. But the only reason why she started dating him was because he was popular, so they break up and she stopped talking to me altogether. She even blocked me on Instagram. So I asked her what happened, and she said that I was a controlling bitch and she didn't want to be friends with me, which doesn't even make any sense because I've never been controlling to her. And then she started texting me like everything was okay, and this went on for a little bit. But after a few months, I just stopped talking to her, but I definitely felt used. Storytime about why you just can't bring some friends around your boyfriend. So a little background information, I'm a 17 and a junior in high school, and I have been best friends with this one girl who we're gonna call Lily for about 2 years. Now Lily and I weren't your ordinary best friends. We were the ones that would party together, but we would never talk about anything serious. And when I mean serious things, I mean like a secret that you don't want anybody to know. Just for a little example, the one time I told her that I thought I was pregnant, and clearly she knew that I was super scared, and I told her I don't want anybody to know no, please don't say anything. Yeah, in about 30 minutes, I had like 20 people asking me if I was pregnant, and then somehow my parents found out. She's also the best friend that you keep away from any guy that you like. Well, I was dating this guy who we're gonna call Jared for 6 months, and obviously now that I have a boyfriend, I've stopped hanging out with her as much. But my whole thing is she would never give me a heads up on plans. She would literally just text me and be like, hey, we're going out tonight. But I would text her back and I would be like, sorry, I can't. I already have plans with Jared. So this made her really upset. So like I said, she was getting very upset with the fact that she would ask me to make plans last minute and I would tell her that I'm busy with my boyfriend. And this went on throughout Jared and I's whole relationship. But it wasn't like I would ignore her. I would still hang out with her. I just wouldn't go and party and stuff like that because I respected my relationship. She would also always ask me to not bring my boyfriend to these parties, and that's another reason why I wouldn't go. So the one night she's like, listen, come out with me. You can bring your boyfriend. It won't be a problem, which was a shocker. So I was a little bit skeptical, but I said, okay. So we go to this party, and usually whenever I'm with Lily, I get really messed up, and I was trying to pace myself this night. And then she's like, come on, you don't mind if she gets drunk, right, Jared? Of course, him wanting me to have fun, he said no, he doesn't mind. She calls us an Uber, and then she asked for my boyfriend's Snapchat just so that way she could check up on us because I was too drunk. The entire ride home, Lily is blowing up Jared's phone, and we just think that she's trying to check on us. No. Instead, when we got home, we opened his phone, and it was actually Lily sending him a bunch of naked pictures. Storytime about how my fiance cheated on me with 10 other girls. So a little background information, I met this guy on Instagram, and we're gonna call him Blaze. Now, when him and I met, he was stationed in Korea, and he refused to ask me to be his girlfriend until he came home. So I waited an entire year for him to ask me to be his girlfriend. Which little t-shirt of a red flag, but he made it seem romantic in some twisted, weird way. So fast forward, he comes home in February, and he kept to his promise. The first day that we met, he asked me to be his girlfriend. So I say yes, fast forward. Him and I started having a ton of arguments because of things that he was doing while he was in Korea. Fast forward, we're officially together for 9 months. So fast forward, of course, he gets deployed to Europe in like September of 2022. So this man decides that he's gonna propose to me in July and then beg me to get married to him before he leaves. Now, I may have ignored the first red flags, but I'm not dumb. Tell us that this man begs me to get married to him before he leaves, and thank goodness I didn't because divorce papers would have been served the same day. So fast forward, he starts acting super weird. He's going out 24/7, he's getting drunk, he's not wearing the ring that he begged me to get him. Yes, he literally begged me for a ring so that way women would know that he had a girlfriend. Well, then of course I go DM from a girl on Instagram asking if him and I were still together. And then after talking to her, I realized he literally made a Tinder 2 days after he got deployed. And what was his excuse? Oh, I wanted to meet friends to teach me German. And listen, I was not born last night, so I kept that conversation going because I wanted to get to the bottom of what the fuck was actually going on. And then of course he finally comes clean that he cheated on me with a bunch of girls. But and you want to know the icing on the cake? One of them was a minor. Yup. After I leave him, he has the audacity to ask for my ring that, but I pretended to tell the sergeant and then I sold it for double what it was worth. So tell me why my aunt put me back into foster care. Yes, she put me back into foster care. So a little background information, I was 15 years old and a sophomore in high school. But whenever I was 12 years old, I was in a very abusive household. And I had 2 younger sisters, one was 11 and the other one was 9. Fast forward, all of us were put into foster care. I got placed in the many shelters/group homes because of my behavioral issues. While I was going through all of this, my sisters were both in steady homes, so that kind of sucked in. I was happy for them, but at the same time, I was going through hell. But eventually, my grandma and my dad passed away, so my aunt decided that she wanted my sisters and I. So she got her foster license, and the days leading up to whenever we were supposed to move them with her were absolute garbage. There was this one girl who was 19 years old. Her and I did not get along, and I was supposed to leave that Wednesday, but I didn't want to wait, so I decided that I was going to get myself kicked out in hopes that I would be able to move them with my aunt sooner. So like I said, I found a way that I was gonna get kicked out, and it was by fighting this girl. And yes, I won. But fast forward, eventually my sisters and I moved in with my aunt. And if you guys ever heard the phrase honeymoon, you probably think of a relationship, right? Wrong. I was actually shocked about how fast everything went downhill whenever we got there. Like eventually my cousins just started being mean to me for no reason, while they favored my sisters. And when I say cousins, you guys are probably thinking they're around my age. No, they were actually in their 20s. Hell, one was even close to 30. Like these were grown-ass adults beating on a 15-year-old. So eventually my cousins, my aunt and I are fighting almost every single day. And the one day my sister and I got into an argument that eventually turned into us fighting. And my cousins love to jump in every fight that my sister and I have. Well, they jumped in this fight and instead of helping break it up, they actually made it worse. The one was holding my leg down and eventually I got it up and I kicked her in the face. And when my aunt thought that it was my fault, she sent me to foster care. Story time about my toxic ex-best friend. So a little background information. I had a very close guy friend who we're going to call Max. Now, Max is 2 years older than me, but due to our families being super close, him and I became best friends. Growing up, I saw him as kind of an older brother, and then eventually as we grew up, I saw him as my best friend, until I realized that he was actually a terrible person, and I missed all of his signs that he was not a real friend. Like one, our first fight, I told him something that I didn't want anybody else knowing. And what do you know, right after I tell him, my family knows, his family knows, my crush knows, all of our friends know. After this, I probably should have distanced myself, but he apologized and we became friends again. That was sign number one. Sign number two, his huge change in attitude. One second, he would be extremely weird to me, and then he would be this really sweet and caring guy, and his apologies were the rest. So it was really hard not to forgive him. He was like a master manipulator. Number three, we only talked whenever it was convenient for him. Like seriously, we would never talk unless he needed something. I think we left off on sign number three, which was the only time that we would talk was when it was convenient for him. He would never reach out, which left me being the one who was constantly trying to preserve our friendship or whatever was left of it. Like all of our messages were literally me, and it made me seem really needy and like I was putting in way too much effort because he would literally answer was the most simple messages. Like, yeah, okay, sure. And he would only talk to me whenever he wasn't with his friends. Sign number four, it felt like he was embarrassed of me. Now, I know that I was 2 years younger than him, but we were still friends, and I really don't think that's that much of a difference. Like, he would never want to be seen with me. The last sign, he would literally always talk about me behind my back. And I thought this was just rumors at first, until finally several people told me that it was not a rumor. He would say things like, oh, she's ugly, she's so mature, she's annoying and childish, she's so annoying. And then I finally decided to cut him off. Because if the bad outweighed the good, was it really worth keeping that person in my life? Story time about my experience with karma. So a little background information, I was 17 in the 11th grade, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a mean person. Well, not kind of, I just was mean. Like, I've had joy out of annoying and making fun of people. Yeah, I know there was something probably wrong with me, leave me alone. Anyway, so I would low-key always bully my cousin, and when she would get upset about it, I would make it seem as if it was a joke. Well, I guess the one day she had enough of me, because there was this boy that I really liked and we didn't know each other at all, like we had never spoken one word to each other, and my cousin knew that I liked this boy, so she decided that she was going to email him asking him out. And this is one of those situations where she tried to steal the guy that I liked. Nope, instead she went on my email and emailed him acting like me. Sis must have been determined to get her look back because I don't even know how she knew the password to my email. So the next day at school, him and I are in citizenship, and we're all on our laptops for this lesson. Well, all of a sudden, I heard him whisper my name to the popular girl that sits next to him. Like I said, I heard him whisper my name to the popular girl that sits next to him, and she have never liked me. I never bullied her. I know I said I was a mean person, but I didn't bully her. She just hated me. So of course, she thinks it would be funny to deprive me from the balloon toss, and she's like, why would you email him asking him out? Not only was I embarrassed, but I was shocked because I was like, what are you talking about? Honestly, I thought that they were lying, so I was like, whatever, I'll check when I get home. Well, when I went home after you took my email, what do you know? There it is. An email sent from my laptop saying, hey, I really like you. Do you want to do Applesby? I forget how, but I found out that it was my cousin. I didn't do anything to her because the damage was already done at that point. But I got bullied so that for the rest of that week. And I don't even know why everybody was being so extra about it. It's not like this kid had a girlfriend or anything. But people were whispering rude things to me in class, and the one day that we was in the locker room, a popular girl starts yelling that I have blood on my pants. Like she screamed it so loud everybody heard it. And I tried asking my cousin if there was anything, she was ignoring me. So now on top of the whole email situation, I was dealing with that. Obviously, eventually everything died down. But I definitely learned my lesson and I'm no longer a bully. Story time about how this boy stabbed me with a pencil in kindergarten. So a little background information, I was 6 years old again in kindergarten, obviously. I'm not gonna lie, this story kind of shows that it doesn't matter how old a child is, they can literally still be very mean and yeah. Well, during the middle of the school year, there was this new kid who came to our class and his name was Freddie. Now, Freddie coming in the middle of the year was kind of sad because everybody already had their friends. They didn't really want to talk to the new kid. And what made it even worse was the fact that he was a teacher's pet and he was the teacher's favorite. So he was always picked to the board and be the line leader, which made the kids hate him even more.
For example, during lunch, Freddie would go and try to sit with some of the kids, and they would call the teacher over, say that she was doing something that was annoying them or really gross. The teachers would remove him and put him in a table alone by himself. And I was one of the kids that didn't really make fun of him. I just kind of sat back and laughed, which I know is terrible. But like I said, everybody would pretty much bully him, and I was one of the kids that just sat back and laughed, didn't say anything to him directly. Eventually, we were getting in trouble for discluding him. We would all have to stay inside during recess with our heads down on the desk in the dark. So then everybody acted like they were going to include him. Like the one time they were like, okay, we're playing hide and seek, you know, you go hide, and then they never went to find him. So then this kid actually started getting violent. My guess is because the teachers and principal were not doing anything about it, and everybody was watching, you would purposely trip kids. This one time, this girl bought in parcels for the whole class, and she didn't give him one. This is because he felt sick the one day, and all the kids went out to recess, and he went around and broke every single pencil. And I came in and I found it, so I told the teacher. And then during nap time, he put his mat on me, and when I finally fall asleep, he literally comes over and stabs me in the back of the neck with a pencil. Storytime about why my sister is probably worse than yours. So a little background information, my sister and I were both 16 and in our sophomore year of high school. And yes, my sister and I were twins, but we were the complete opposite. She was the girly girl and I was a tomboy. But the summer before our sophomore year, we both got grounded because we were driving my dad's car without our license and we wrecked it. So we ended up spending all summer together, which was very unusual, because it was like her and I were acquaintances living in the same house. Well, over that summer we got super close and she ended up turning me into a girly girl. She taught me how to take care of my skin, do my hair, do my makeup, and how to dress. Now mind you, once we got into high school, she never spoke to me, because that wasn't a part of the little clique that she was in. So she was like, yeah, you can finally hang out with my friends, and I am super excited. So school starts, I end up becoming friends with all of her friends, and my sister's really good friends with this one boy. But she had only said that she never liked him like that, so she introduced us, him and I started talking, and we both ended up liking each other. So like I said, my sister and I start school, I become friends with her friends, and she introduces me to this guy that she's been best friends with for a while. Him and I end up talking, I really like him, he really likes me, and my sister would always hype me up to be like, oh my god, he should get with him, he's such a nice guy, and you guys would look so great together. So the one day he asked me if I wanted to go on a date with him, and of course I said yes, so I ran to my sister's room, I was so excited to tell her. So I don't armor door, I go in and I'm like, oh my gosh, guess what? She's like, what? I'm like, he asked me out on a date, and she just sits there and stares at me. And when I asked her what's wrong, she's like, oh my god, you knew that I liked him. You're such a bad sister. I would have never done this to you. So then I started to feel bad, but then I didn't, because I remembered how she used to hype me up. So the next day, a few hours before my date, she comes in my room. She's like, hey, I'm really sorry about how I acted yesterday. I would love to help you get ready for your date if you'll let me. I feel so bad. And we're sisters, so of course I get over it, and I tell her yes, I want her to help me, like for part 3.